Good morning, students. Today we're going to start our next chapter, chapter 12. Topic is air and water. Today we will start first part, that is air. We all know we are under the sea of air. Air is all around us. So we all are familiar with air. It is present everywhere around us, but we cannot see the air, but we can feel the air. That is, the air is present in all around us. So again we say that we cannot see the air, but we can feel the presence of air. We can also feel the presence of air when we look outside. The trees are rustled when the wind blows. The clothes hanging on a cloth line so when air moves. So let us take some more information on air. We also discuss some problems on solution of air. Now we will discuss the air and atmosphere. We will discuss air and atmosphere. First part, we all know that the thick layer of air that surrounds the earth is called atmosphere. So here question, what is the atmosphere? The thick layer of air that surrounds the earth is called atmosphere, and you know that it extends from the surface of the earth to hundreds of kilometers. So look at this is a surface of air and it extends up to 100 kilometers of above it. So look at this in this picture. It is a picture of earth. It is the inner core part, after then out core, lower mantle, upper mantle, crust and atmosphere. So it is the length is 100 of kilometers above. Now the atmosphere is held around the earth due to its gravitational force exerted by earth. So you know that gravitational force always attracts all things towards the soil. At same, the gravitational force also attracts the atmosphere and air towards the soil. So there are 5 layers in the atmosphere. There are 5 layers in the atmosphere. What are they? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. 5 layers in the atmosphere. One is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. These 5 layers are always around us. Look at this. I also written here troposphere. The 5 layers are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and last one is exosphere. After then we see This is a space. Next part we also discussed about the exosphere. So first part is troposphere. We also discuss about the first part. Troposphere is the first or lowermost layer of atmosphere. Troposphere is the first or lowermost layer of the atmosphere. So this layer of the atmosphere where we live. So we live in the troposphere layer. It is the first and it is the lowermost layer. It extends up to 15 km above the surface of the earth. It extends up to 15 km above the surface of the earth, and most 75% of air, of all the air in the atmosphere are contains in the troposphere. The troposphere contains about 75% of all the air in the atmosphere. So you know that all weather changes also take place in this layer. Look at this. This is the earth's surface and it extends up to 15 kilometers towards the earth's surface. This layer name is troposphere. We live here. So we live in troposphere layer. Here you look that all types of weather changes contains in this layer. Weather changes means rains, it wind blows, many things. What happen in the troposphere? It extends up to 15 kilometers. Next layer name is stratosphere. Next layer name is stratosphere. It is upward the troposphere. Here look at this. Stratosphere is the second layer. In this layer there are no disturbance due to the weather. You cannot see this in this layer. There are no disturbance due to the air. So also we say that here weather is stable. In this layer we also see the ozone gas in this layer. Is in this layer, in the second layer, there are due to the no disturbance of the weather. That's why jet aircraft are flying in the layer. Stratosphere is the second layer. Jet aircraft fly in this layer. Why? Now in this layer there are no disturbance due to the weather. And also I tell you that all in this it contains ozone gas. What is the work of ozone gas? Now ozone gas absorb the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. It absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun. So it is very needed in the ozone gas. Next layer name is mesosphere. So this layer atmosphere above the stratosphere is at mesosphere. It is the, look at this, mesosphere is the above of stratosphere. Mesosphere is above the stratosphere. This line shows you that it is the above of mesosphere, above of stratosphere. Mesosphere is the third layer. Its distance up to Earth's surface to mesosphere is 50 kilometer. 50 kilometer. So it extends from 50 kilometer above the Earth's surface. It contains 50 kilometer up. Also, we can see that in this layer, the meteoroid that entered the Earth's atmosphere, it slow down and burn up in this layer. Meteoroids that entered the Earth's atmosphere, it slow down and burn in the layer. Thus, we are safe from their impact on Earth. So, such meteoroids that burn up in the atmosphere and are not able to reach the Earth's surface are called meteoroids. So, look at this. In this picture, you look that this mesosphere is extend up to 50 kilometer Earth surface, and in this layer the meteoroids enter in this layer and they burn in this layer. That's why we are safe from meteoroids, and it is called the meteoroids. Fourth layer name is thermosphere. Fourth layer name is in the atmosphere is thermosphere. So it is very hot and forms the place for the movement of space shuttles. It is the above of mesosphere. This layer is fourth layer and name is thermosphere. Here you will show this space shuttles. It is the fourth layer and name is thermosphere. After then above the thermosphere, you can show the next layer name is exosphere. Next layer is exosphere, and it is in this place there are no air, so this layer is airless space. After then you look, it is blank, so it complete the atmosphere. Okay, again I saw you tell you in this my copy that it is the Earth surface. After then it extend to 15 kilometer. This layer name is thermosphere. There are 75% of air in the atmosphere belongs in this layer, and here all types of weather changes belongs in this layer. After above the troposphere, next second layer name is stratosphere. This layer, here there are no disturbance due to the weather. That's why jet aircraft are fly in this layer, and this layer it contains ozone gas. What is the work of ozone gas? It absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun. After the next layer name is third layer is mesosphere. Here it extends to 50 kilometer from Earth's surface. It is the third layer. Next layer is also I tell that mesosphere. Here you know the meteoroids that enter the Earth's atmosphere. Here in this thermosphere, in the mesosphere level, it slows down and burn up in this layer. For this, thus we are safe from the impact on Earth. So such meteoroids that burn up in the atmosphere and are not able to reach the Earth's surface, it is called the meteoroids. Next level name is thermosphere. Here all type of space shuttles are belong, and it is the very hot layer. Next layer name is exosphere. It is the last layer and it is the fifth layer in the atmosphere. Name is exosphere. Here is airless space. This layer is airless space. So we complete the air and atmosphere. So now we will read the what is the atmosphere is essential? Why is the atmosphere is essential for us? First, I tell that atmosphere sustains life on earth by providing oxygen for breathing, and it also provides carbon dioxide to plants for making food. The atmosphere sustains life on earth by providing oxygen for breathing, and it also provides carbon dioxide to plants for making food, because we take oxygen from air, and when we breathe we release carbon dioxide. Plants take the carbon dioxide and they make food. At that time plants also release the oxygen. This is the cyclic process. Again we take oxygen and we living. If oxygen is not present, we cannot live in the earth, we will die. Next point is the ozone layer in the atmosphere. You know that I tell in the stratosphere layer present the ozone gas, so it also absorb the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun, and it prevents them from reaching us. So it next one is it helps in maintaining the right amount of heat on earth. So the atmosphere reflects back or absorb the excessive heat of the sun, so that the earth does not get overheated during the daytime. So it also reflects and absorb, because when the sunlight is coming in the earth, the atmosphere or the air also absorb or reflects. If the all it is not present, atmosphere is not present in the earth, so all sunlight sun rays are coming and they did not return, they did not release. That's why in the daytime it heated, and same process it remains some heat at night. If the all heat are released, then during the night some heat, the earth does not freeze, so it is needed. Next one is the atmosphere helps the in recycling water through the water cycle. The atmosphere helps in recycling water through the water cycle. The water cycle means we take ice, after then when it get heat and melts, it changes its matter and it is liquid. After then again it take heat, it changes its matter and it is vapor. After then when the rain is coming, again it is the cyclic process. Next one is the atmosphere prevents the meteoroids from hitting the surface of the earth. Which layer it do? Mesosphere layer, the atmosphere it take in this layer, the meteoroids are burned and slow down in the layer. If this layer is absent, then all the meteoroids are come in the earth's surface. Okay, next one is composition of air. Next is composition of air. Air is the mixture of gases. Air is a mixture of gases. There are so many gases present in our atmosphere. So mainly two main gases are present. One is nitrogen, next one is oxygen. So two main content of air are nitrogen and oxygen. you look in this figure that in the red color maximum is nitrogen, and in the green color is oxygen, another color yellow is other gases, and sky blue color is carbon dioxide. Here it is a pie chart to understand you about the presence of the gases in the ether. So you know that two main content of air are nitrogen and oxygen. In addition to this, air also contains some quantities of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and trace of other gases. See the portion of gases, the given picture. It is the given picture. You look at this picture. Red, again I tell you, the red color is nitrogen. It is the maximum present in the air. Next one, green color is oxygen, and blue color is carbon dioxide, and yellow color shows that it is the other gases. Other gases means is present hydrogen, sulfur dioxide, many gases present belongs in the other gases. So how many percentage of nitrogen present? Nitrogen present are 78% of nitrogen present in the air or weather. Oxygen present is 21% of present in the air. Carbon dioxide is 0.03% of carbon dioxide present in the air, and other gases is 0.97%. 0.97% of other gases present. Look at this. Again I tell you, nitrogen, I take a chart. Nitrogen is 78%, oxygen present in 21%, so total is 99%. 99% of gases, these two gases are present in the air is 99%, and 1%, only 1% are present other gases. It belongs in carbon dioxide. Are present 0.03% of carbon dioxide are present in this gas, and other gases is 0.97% other gases. Here also belongs in the hydrogen, sulfur, so many gases are present in the belongs in the other gases. Okay, next one is the amount of water vapor present in the air is called humidity. So what is humidity? The amount of water vapor present in air is called humidity. So if the humidity is high, when water vapor is more in air, so the humidity is high when the water vapor is more in the air. In humid air, the presence from our body surface does not evaporate quickly, so we feel uncomfortable. So when the humidity is get in humid in air, the precipitation from our body surface does not evaporate quickly, so we feel uncomfortable. So we can feel the humidity in air before and after the rain. We feel humidity in air before and after the rain. Next we start the properties of air. Properties of air. We will discuss about the properties of air. We know that air is all around us. Air is all around us. So wind can move things. For example, you can see cloud moving in the sky nowadays. Also you when look that clouds are moving in the sky because in this layer wind are blows. So let us study some important properties of air. First one is air occupies space. Air occupies space. So air is all around us. As the air enters the balloon, we also blow the balloon. So if the air is entered by in the balloon from our lungs, it takes the air takes up space in the balloon. The balloon expands because the air is inside it. It needs to take up more space. So that is how we can see that air takes up space. So air is all around us, and as the air enters the balloon from our lung, the air takes up space in the balloon. So the balloon expands because the air inside needs to take up more space. So that is how we can see that air takes up space. Next is air has weight. Next properties is air has weight. Let us take a examine that we take two balloons. How many balloons? We take two balloons, and one by one we blow it in the air, then and hang them with a thread to both the ends of a stick. We take also a stick and a thread. We blow these two balloons one by one. After then we hang it one side. After again we hang in the other side. However, if we deflate one of the balloons, the stick will tilt towards it. This is clearly shows that air has weight. Next one is air exert pressure. If a toy filled with air is placed on the water surface, it will float. If we will exert pressure into a ball, we will feel that it is really difficult to dip the ball in water. It is the pressure exerted by the air filled in the ball which makes it hard to dip in the air. Air exerts pressure on everything around it, all direction. Look at the picture. It is syringe. When the doctor take medicine from our bottle, it puts the needle inside the bottle, and they up the syringe. So in this position the air take blanks, and from all medicine are pushed in this syringe. That's why we say that air exert pressure, same as dropper. And when we drink some juice or cold drinks, whatever we drink, we take a straw, because we drink straw work because of air pressure. We release this pressure, and in this straw the juice or liquid come in the straw in our mouth, also then we drink. So it is clear. Next one is use of air. Uses of air. There are so many uses. You know that air is needed for breathing. You know that air is needed for breathing. All living beings need air to survive. If air is not, we cannot survive in this planet. So air is needed for breathing. All living things need air to survive. Next one is air is needed for burning. We cannot light a fire without oxygen. You know that when we burn a light, we need oxygen. But how many percentage of oxygen present in air? There are 21% oxygen present, but 78% are nitrogen also present. but nitrogen is not does not support to burn the light of fire. Only oxygen helps to burn. Next one is wind is form of energy. You know that when wind it turns the blades of windmill to generate electricity. Wind also helps in moving sailboats across water. Air cools engines by absorbing and taking away the heat produced in them. Air is filled in tires, pillows, etc. to allow flexibility. Air is filled in footballs. We play football. It needs air. We also fill air. We also fill the football. So air is filled in footballs to give it shape. Keep it light and soft enough to kick. Air pressure helps in filling ink in a fountain pen, in sucking liquid through a straw, and filling an injection syringe. You all know this. Next one is, so we complete the use of air. Next one is water. You know, we also know that water is in our everyday life. We need water. What is the use of water? There are so many purposes we use, like drinking water, washing our clothes, watering plants. If we do not give water to the plants, they will die. So watering plants, bathing, cooking, etc. So many use or purpose of water. So we need water every day. So about 75% of our Earth's surface is covered with water, but most of the water is saline water, as it is present in sea or oceans. So very little of this water can be used for drinking. Look at this. There are 75% of our Earth's surface are covered with water, but most of this water is saline, as it present in the sea, but we cannot drink. So here look at the picture. There's 70.8% of water, but only few water we drink, but other water are saline water. It is present in seas or oceans. Next one is solvable and insoluble substance. There are many substances that it is dissolved in water. So these types of substance which dissolve completely in water, it is called soluble substance. So this water which dissolve completely in water, it is called soluble substance. Example is sugar, salt, squash, etc. So many things are dissolved completely in water. It is called soluble substance. And those substance which do not dissolve in water, it is called insoluble substance. The substance which do not dissolve in water are called insoluble substance. Example is sand, chalk. This is the example of insoluble substance. You know that these types of substance which is solute, and solute dissolve is called solvent. Dissolve is called solvent. And what is solution? The mixture of solute and solvent forms a solution. How it forms the solution? mixture of solute and solvent, it forms solution. Next one is need to purify water. I tell you that there are 70%, 95% of water present, but all are saline water, so we cannot drink. And also it is there so many dirty water are present nowadays. That's why we need to purify the water. First is rainwater. As it falls on the ground, it dissolves many substances from air in it. It dissolves many substances, so many dust also it dissolves. So when it flows down in the hill over the rock and soil, it dissolves many minerals. It also carries along some insoluble substance such as mud, twigs, leaves and stones, etc. These unwanted things which enter the water and making it dirty are called impurities. So what is impurities? There are so many insoluble substances it is unwanted things in this insoluble substance are also carries which enter the water and it makes the water dirty. It is called impurities. Again I tell you, some insoluble substance such as mud, twigs, leaves, stone, etc. It is unwanted things and it enter the water and it makes the water dirty. It is called impurities. So thus the water collected in a reservoir or lake contains a lot of soluble and insoluble impurities in it. You know that municipality also take the water and they purify this water with a many. So they take the reservoir, they collect the water from lake or they reserve it. After then a lot of soluble and insoluble impurities in it, so they need to purify the water. So therefore it is always suggested to purify water before drinking. So when the municipality gives the water in pipeline, they also purify this water because we take the water after then we drink. So we also need to purify this water again. After you also purify this water. So therefore it also suggested to purify water before drinking. This water which is fit for drinking is called potable water. This water which is fit for drinking is called potable water. Next is how to remove these insoluble impurities. So different methods are followed to remove the insoluble impurities. First one is sedimentation and decantation. What is sedimentation? Water, sometimes water contains, you know that I tell you in this chapter that few water when the rainfall in the mountain or rock, it also flow the mud. So we take the water. So water contains mud which is insoluble. So if the water is allowed to stand the undisturbed for some time, the mud particle settle down. This process is called sedimentation. What is sedimentation? Some water contains mud which is insoluble. So if the water is allowed to stand undisturbed for some time, the mud particles settle down. This process is called sedimentation. And decantation is now pour the clear water gently into another container, and care should be taken not to disturb the sediment at the bottom. This process is called decantation. Look at this. It is the muddy water. After a few times it did not disturb this water. You look that all mud are settled down. Then it is the sedimentation. After then we do not disturb the first bottom level water. We take the container. This process is called decantation. Next one is filtration. So what is the method of filtration? So in the filtration method, water with insoluble impurities, this is passed through a filter paper. Look at this, we also, it is filter paper. The thinning process, the filter paper allow, it is the very thin process, that's why it also allow only water to pass through but block the impurities. So it block the impurities, also it passes the only water. So filtration is generally used to remove light suspended impurities from water. Look at this, this is a picture of filtration. Here it is a muddy water, it take the filter paper, and here is the clean water come. So it is the process of filtration. You need to write in the this the filtration method. After then you need to draw this picture also. So it goes the remove the insoluble impurities. So method is sedimentation and decantation and filtration. This is the method of remove the insoluble impurities. Next one is remove the soluble impurities from water. First is only one is distillation. So what is distillation? The process of purifying water by first boiling it and then condensation. The steam is called distillation. The process of purifying water by first boiling it and then condensing the steam is called distillation. So now we discuss the process of distillation. So in the distillation process there are two processes. One is evaporation, second one is condensation. So two name of the two process is evaporation, second one is condensation. So this method is used to separate soluble impurities from water. Look at this, this is a picture of distillation. Here we take the soluble impurities. After then it take heat and evaporates the water, and here it is the condensation. It then we take clean water. So impure water, the impure water is heated till it boils. Here it is heated till it boils. On boiling, water evaporates, leaving the impurities behind the flask. You know that only water is evaporates, also it leave from the flask. Behind the steam is passed through a condenser. It is passes through a condenser. It is the condenser which is kept cool by circulating cold water. Here it is pushes the cold water around it. So it heated the water and it goes the condensation. After then the release the it changes, evaporates, the water evaporates, and here you will look that circulating the cold water around it. Here the steam cools down and the cool condenser and changes into a water. Here it is the change its state and again it came the liquid in another flask. It is the another flask and it is the another flask. So again I tell you, it gives the heat. After the heated water it boils and it goes to in this position. After then here we put this circulation, it kept the cool by circulating cold water in this position around it, and the steam cools down in cool condenser and changes into water here stored. With the water is collected in another flask. This water is absolutely pure. That's why we take the pure water. And purifying drinking water. Water must be purified before drink, as it may contain germs that can cause disease. So water can be purified so many process. Here again tell that water must be purified before drinking. Nowadays we also use AquaGuard to purify the water. So water must be purified before drinking, as it may contains germs that can cause disease. Water can be purified in the following ways. So many ways we have. So we complete this chapter. So you must learn this chapter very good. Thank you. Best of luck.